You cannot get poor enough to help poor people thrive or sick enough to help sick people get well. You can only ever uplift your position of strength and clarity and alignment. That's a quote by Abraham Hicks, and it has stuck with me for quite some time since I first heard it. And I reflect back on that as I'm learning about Karunā compassion. Listening to a YouTube video by Bhante Punaji, he describes Karunā as the next level of metta, where with metta we are wishing love and joy and happiness to other beings. And with Karunā, we are wishing the ending of suffering for ourselves and other beings. He explains, though, in his video that compassion is the closest English interpretation to the word Karunā. However, it's not quite capturing that essence of Karunā, wherein with Karunā, and I'm paraphrasing here, you're essentially holding a space for compassion while not dipping into the energy of the being that you are holding compassion for. Compassion for their suffering. You are not dipping into their suffering with them. Like in the Abraham Hicks quote, you cannot get sick enough to make them feel better. Instead, you are witnessing them from a position of strength, clarity, and alignment. As Bhante goes on to explain, if you're dipping into that suffering with that person, then you are both suffering. In the YouTube video, he offers 2 questions that can help guide Karunā compassion. The first is there anything I can actively do to relieve this instance of suffering for this being, this individual? And he explains that many times there's not anything that you can do. There's not an action you can take to relieve the suffering. And in which case you're still holding Karunā for this being. You are in that space of strength, clarity, and alignment, witnessing their suffering, not experiencing their suffering. And then the other part of that is, if you can do something, ask, what is the most skillful way for me to intervene in this situation? What is the most skillful way for me to intervene in this situation? He describes this as a dance between wisdom and compassion.